This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and I have a very interesting lock for you today. I recently purchased this batch of locks from an arcade that closed down via eBay, mainly to get my hands on these 2-bar locks over here. I wasn't that interested in most of the other stuff here. A lot of Chinese locks, some Ace, Ace 2 mixed in. But I didn't know there would be a little treasure mixed in. It doesn't look like much at first blush. In fact, I didn't even notice I had this until I had this package for several weeks. But then something caught my eye. And that was the little UL stamp right in the middle. So I took a closer look. And when I did take a closer look, I found something really interesting. And that is that 4 of the 7 chambers are pin-in-pin. That is, there are 2 active pins, one wrapped around the other, much like a multi-lock. I then took a closer look at the key and found that those pin-in-pin chambers lined up with dual cuts on the keys. So those 4 pin-in-pin chambers, which are in positions 1, 3, 5, and 7, make this an 11-pin lock, not a 7-pin lock. Now, I was unable to find much about this. I did research on the internet, and the only thing I came across was this, an ad from HPC for a tool to open these. And it didn't say who made them, but it said that it was rated by Underwriters Laboratory, which deemed them pick-proof, which obviously piqued my attention. So I reached out to a lot of people. No one seemed to know what it was, but Brian in Australia found out through his contacts that this was actually made by the Chicago Lock Company here in the US in the 1970s, and that it was considered a very high security and pick resistant lock back in its day. So what I am going to do is put this in the vise, and we're going to try to pick it. I'm going to cut the video because I am going to try to give you a really good angle of the picking so you can see the precision with which this needs to be picked, so you can independently pick the inner and outer pins. So I'm going to cut the video and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, I have this guy in the vise, and I'm actually shooting this through a magnifying glass, hoping to give you a really good view of what I have to do to pick this lock. I'm putting my tension wrench on, and I'm going to use this tool to pick so I have enough precision that I can hit the inner and outer pins separately. I'm going to try my best to stay out of the camera angle, but it's going to happen every now and then that I block your view. And I apologize for that in advance. But what I'm doing right now is I'm going around to all of the outer pins. I'm presuming they're the ones that are probably going to set first. And I'm giving each one of them a nudge, hoping that we can get something out of them first. We've gotten a little click out of most of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start hitting both inner and outer pins while going around. It's a little bit awkward picking around the lamp and camera, but hopefully you're getting a good view. I guess while I'm just going in circles here, I should talk a little bit about picking tubular locks and what these pins feel like when you pick them. Now, if the pin is not binding as you would expect, it's pretty springy. When it's set, there'll be a little bit of movement, and you can usually feel a tiny bit of springiness to it. Not much, but a little bit. Now, what you don't want is to overset the pins. And when you overset them, you will feel a tough binding where there's no movement at all on the pin. And if that happens, it's not the end of the world. Just release a little bit of tension, wait for the pin that you overset to pop up, and then just keep going. going around hitting each inner and each outer pin in turn. Now normally when I'm going around a tubular lock, I don't know, go around somewhere around 3 times before the lock ends up setting. But in this case, it's a lot more than that. These pin-in-pin chambers really complicate the lock and make it much more time-consuming to pick. But we just need to stay methodical. It'll open for us. And there we go. She's open. Now a lock like this, you'd need to pick 3 times to actually get the full quarter turn, which is normally what a cam lock would require. But I am only going to do it once for the purposes of this video. Now, this lock is a sealed unit, so I will not be gutting it. You actually have to drill out these pins to gut it, so I will not be doing that today. That's all I have for you today. I hope you like this UL rated Chicago pin-in-pin tubular lock. I certainly enjoyed finding this among my little bag of Chinese garbage, and it was fun showing it to you. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe. And as always, have a nice day. Thank you.